Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. And we did go in and see S&P's pop up in, if you can really call it, I guess you'd call it late Asia and early European trading. We popped up to 41.93. We've gone and backed off a little bit from here. Bear with me. And let's take a look here. I think Didier asked me to go and look at the FTSE, but I don't have access to the FTSE because I only use, bear with me one moment. I used to take a look at, using TradingView, but I was using the one that the team was using, and it seemed like there was always one extra person on there be kicking you out or locking up, and I got frustrated with that, and that's when I switched over to Thinkorswim, and Thinkorswim doesn't have the FTSE on there. So sorry about that. One moment. You'd have to reset it because it said there was one too many people in the system, and it was just like enough of that. And and on my feed in Ninja, I only have the US indexes because I have 4 different exchanges: CBOT, CME, NYMEX for the crude, and of course for the for metals. So that's 4. That being said, so you can see here where we saw that pop come up here in, let's go and move this here. Saw that pop up here in SPUSA jumped up, and we stayed pretty well bid. I mean, yesterday was interesting because we saw twice, we saw a couple of quick sell-offs, and then they just bottom right back up. And I guess the market, especially it's a little bit, you got to be careful because with earnings out, any kind of good earnings is going to pop it up. Well, it looked like they were quick to take profits because earnings were coming out during the session itself, but they did go in and, they sold them off, and they actually sold them off on pretty good volume too. But then they turned around and bought them right back up. Had one where I shared that on the chat. We dropped like, there it was right there. Let me see. So look at that drop. We dropped and we hit 23,000 on the drop. But on the next bar, when we fall completely further and we turn around, look at that turnaround, 45,000 contracts. So on this drop, 23 and 45. So not only did they pick them up, they bought them right back hard. And I mentioned in the chat, and I go, could that have been just resting bids? Looking for the short covering, possibly, but they still brought them back pretty good. And that's what I was saying. I actually took a short on the way back up, and I was able to, get out with a few handles. And I was more than happy. I certainly didn't want to get greedy because of that fact. When I saw that, I would have thought, okay, that's a good signal. We're going lower. But if you looked at the volume, it certainly did not dictate that at all whatsoever. We saw the cable kind of bounce around a little bit. Also, yesterday, one of the things that we're looking at with cable was the that weekly level at 39.18. We saw the market kind of come back a little bit in early Asia, then dip back, then come back again, and we're kind of just mixed bagging it right now here at 39.88. And let's take a look here with Nasdaq. Just a quick look. They're still pushing higher. I mean, there's really nothing to say other than it's just pushing higher. I think I already said to take a look at it. Well, it's not doing anything, but just pushing a little bit higher. We haven't really made any big changes since yesterday. When we're looking at 2-hour chart, you can see here, there's been no real movement except it's finish up a little bit finish up better on the day, but you can see even in Asia it's been relatively quiet. Gold is just after we hitting that rally up there, almost at 1800. We've settled in and we're just not making any moves. And we started out the week with crude saying, still, even though with this fall, it still remained a bit bearish here. And certainly we did go on and drop even further yesterday, going sub 61 and then rallying back up. We're actually coming into resistance. We're actually at resistance right now. With that, looking at economic data for today, nothing. We did get the Italian business confidence come out just a few moments ago. That came in pretty much in line at 102.5. Business climate, European business climate will be out at the top of this next hour. They're looking for forecasts of -5. And nothing until U.S. data. There's UK CBI distributive trade survey. It's just a survey that doesn't come out for almost another 2 hours. And then the U.S. we're going to have housing price index at 9 a.m. Eastern. And let's see here. And Richmond Fed manufacturing. That'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then Dallas services, that's 10:30 a.m. So light on the data. We're going to get into the analysis. I actually had the euro pair back a little bit here. You can see we have a little bit of a doji here. Let's go on and go right into the analysis. So the euro posted a doji on Monday, which may see the market pause. That being said, bulls remain solidly in control, targeting a move to 21.31, which will be resistance. Support will remain as 20.47. You can see right now we're 20.64. So we had 20.47, 21.31, no changes here. We did go on, as I said, get this doji. Some may see it kind of a bit of a spinning. The wick's a little bit too long, but it's still that coincided with the 61%. So that the market could pause back, take a pause and ease back makes sense. But we're still relatively quiet. So no change in the analysis there on the euro. We're just taking a bit of a pause. Let's go move into the cable. So the cable found offers on Monday at the secondary resistance of 39.33 level, which will remain key. As previously noted, weekly level 39.17 should provide a line of demarcation as the week plays out. Support will be 38.68. We're currently at 38.85. We've been as low as 38.71. So as I mentioned, it's 38.68. And there's that secondary resistance that held up really well, but you want to keep your eyes on that 39.17. And actually, there was one high tick 2 weeks ago, which was 39.18. We'll call it 39.17 asterisk. Let's go move into the Aussie dollar. So the Aussie took out shorts on Monday with the close above 77.58. Resistance on Tuesday will be 78.37 with support at the old key resistance, which will now be 77.58. We were able to, you can see how we made runs, but we could never close above 77.58. That was going to be the key to run the shorts out of Dodge, and certainly they did. So now support is the old resistance. And resistance will be 78.37. Bullish. Let's go move into the dollar yen. So the dollar yen found a minuscule amount of buyers on Monday to close positive. Resistance remains 835, which we're at 837 right now, with support at 778. Still quite bearish. And on to the cash dollar index. See the euro pair back a little bit further now. And even the S&P is at 4182. So the dollar index attempted to stop the bleeding on Monday as sellers wane as the market exceeded 90.82, which was 61%. Support on Thursday will be 90.56 with resistance at 91.25. Oh, no change there. And this drops down to 91.25 and obviously clearly bearish. And on to Bitcoin. Solid move here on Bitcoin. We did rally yesterday, and we actually got past this 38%. We're actually right here at resistance. And let's go on and pull up the notes on Bitcoin. Bitcoin rallied on Monday, closing above the resistance level of 53,600. The crypto rallied to 53,869, which is a 38% of 47,020 to 64,936. Resistance will be the 54,877, right there, right now, almost, with support at 52,117. So let's mark this off. 54,877. Support will be 52,117. We're almost there at resistance. You can see right there. Just about there. And we'll actually open this up a little bit. See it more clearly. See how it went right up here to the 38%. Looked like we almost could have had like a little bit of a hanging man right there. We made this push higher, and that's going to be resistance right there, and that's 54,877. Next one is going to be the S&Ps. S&P's closed at another all-time high. Resistance for Tuesday will be 41.87 with support at the pivotal level of 41.67. Well, actually, you can see what popped up in here to this 41.93. That actually happens to be, if you take this, it's 127% extension. And that's all you can do when you get to these all-time levels. You see right there, went right to 127% extension of this recent high to low. One thing we will go and revise and put this for 41.90. I'm going to put it right there at the very top, but have to acknowledge where it went to. So it'd be 41.90 versus 41.87. And support, they bought them back pretty hard. So at this point, we'll still go with the pivot, which is 41.67. Although we'd come down here, but we'll count that still as cute. The pivotal level, 41.67. And take a look at the Nasdaq. No changes here. I mean, I don't know what you can expect because it's just all-time highs. So there's no real analysis to say. I mean, we're at all-time highs. Here, right? That's 14,044. That'll be the resistance, 14,044. And support right here. You see this the body off of that, which is going to be 13,983, which isn't that much to ask for. This high right here, you see this high, 13,981. Let's try and find it. You see right there where you have the most touches. It's coming across right. Go to 1391. Right here. You see there? 13,966. And with that, we'll go and move into the gold market. So gold traded in a quiet range on Monday. No change overall. Resistance will remain 1788 with support at 1764. And we're just stuck in the middle. Nothing's happening here in gold. And we had 1764, 1788, no changes. Let's go on and move on to crude. Crude dipped sub $61 before finding support at 60.70 and rallied to 62 as the market attempts to etch out a new range. Resistance for Tuesday will be 62.59. You can see we're right there essentially, with support at 61.45. So 62.59 for resistance. and support 61.45. There we go. Carol's still trading relatively quiet in here. As I mentioned, we want to keep an eye on that weekly level, which is going to be 39.17. It's still early in the week. Today's only Tuesday, but it's definitely a line of demarcation, an area you can see here, the opening range in the first 5 minutes here has been 38.88 to 39.02. We broke below the opening range, saw a little bit of a follow through. We rallied back up here, got into the opening range here. I've kind of pulled back. The jury's kind of still out. Euro opened up here, opening range. We poked our heads above it, fell back into the range, kind of challenged the upper portion, couldn't do anything, and we pressed on the lower side and pushed a little bit further. We'll come back up and challenging it again. As I mentioned with the S&Ps, and you can see the VWAP from the electronic session, full sessions kind of contained this. We here in the euro. S&Ps, like I said, we're still hanging around here, but of course, as I mentioned, with to remove this, with earnings, it's almost, I won't say a crapshoot, but depending on how the earnings come out, you can see a quick pop and then a fade. But I have noticed, like I said yesterday, two hard fades. I mean, on decent volume, they broke them hard, and then they brought them right back up. So it almost feels like maybe once we get past earnings, depending on what we have, we may see this market work a little bit lower. But once again, we've got earnings this week. Hard to be a seller, but we do feel like the market is coming in and getting people to challenge it. Speaking of cable, we'll go on and take a look at that weekly chart again. And you can see where we stand right now in this weekly. And that 39.17 is key. The high on this, which was now it's going to be 3 weeks ago, is going to be 39.18. But 39.17, that's key right there. I think that it's, you'll see people take pot shots at it unless we get above 39.17. Of course, that 39.33 still remains key. Here's the bias chart for today. Amira went to look at platinum, palladium. We'll take just a quick look at those. Well, with platinum, we've gone in, let's go move this into the daily. We did get this close above that level. You see it right there? 1246. Opens the door for them to move higher. We're just kind of digesting the move. It appears to be, and supports it right there at the 1240. But we did close, so that would have knocked out a few shorts. Not everybody, but a few. So just consolidated today, nothing. And lastly, palladium. Well, you can see here we closed yesterday above the 161%, and we're adding on. Pull opened up a little bit lower, and we're still pushing higher. We're actually above yesterday's close. So this thing still wants to scoot. If you're looking for a target, if this thing were to keep on going, you'd be looking at 261% extension retreat, way above 3,000, about 3,200, something like that. Didier says, look at copper. Take a look at a weekly. Go to a monthly. So if you look on a monthly, let's wow, we're right there. Look at that. That's 450. That's huge. But that's on a monthly. And we're almost at the end of the month. And the all-time high is 460, 465, called 464.95. But that's key right here. This monthly close right there. We're right there. 450. With the all-time high at 464.95. Certainly looks like they may make a go for it. They may try and run some stops, and then we may try and put edge back, and then the key at the very end of the month will be if they can hold this 450. But that's where we stand. That's huge. You could look right now and do a 161% off of this and see if there's anything kind of a confluence or a target. Oh, this high is right there. Wow, we're already above the 161%. You can see how they went above it and then they closed below it. It looked like they're going to run out of gas, and they took it another leg high right here. My guess is they'll try to make a shoot for this 465, and then the key will be as long as we close above 450 for the end of the month. And that'll do it. And we'll see you all in the chat room. And thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover webinar.